Okay guys, it's your girl Miss Dre Be Natural, and I'm back with another video. This video is a knitting tutorial on how to do a knit gauge swatch. This is very important to do when you are making any type of garment, like a sweater, dress, skirt, anything such as that. So what you're going to need is the yarn that you're going to use, and you're going to need the knitting needle that you're going to use for that project. For this tutorial, I just grabbed some random yarn that I have around, which looks like this. And I am using a size 5mm knitting needle. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So I'm just going to do a basic, well, you want to do whatever stitch pattern that you're going to use to make your pattern. I'm just going to, for tutorial purposes, just say I'm going to do a knit and purl. Or a basic knit pattern. So I'm going to cast on like 15 stitches. Okay, so this is 15 stitches. And now I'm just going to work up, I've seen people do like 10, 20 rows, whatever. I'm going to do like 5 or 10 rows. You just want enough rows so that you can take your measuring tape and measure across, measure the width and the length. Okay guys, so you have your swatch sample done. I did 10 rows. It's small, but it's okay for this pattern. But I do want to mention that if you are doing a pattern that has like a 8-row repeat, you need to do the 8 rows, maybe 2 sets of the 8 rows, or if you have a 5-row repeat, something like that. But for this tutorial, just to keep it simple and easy to follow along, I just went ahead and I just did a basic knit stitch and then the purl on the back. 10 rows of that. So I'm just using mock numbers here. So sorry that my sample looks a little wonky, but it will serve for the purpose of this video. So say for instance, the piece that you are going to work on is a 30, you're making a dress and it's 30 inches in width that you need your measurement to total. So what you're going to do is, say for instance, you're going to break that up into, you're going to have a front panel that's 15 inches or you're going to have a back panel that's 15 inches, and then you're going to have two front piece panels, which would be 7.5 inches. Or you're going to just do two 15-inch pieces, or you're just going to knit the whole 30-inch piece, whatever. It doesn't matter, but this swatch will help you gauge all of that. So my 30-inch piece, so I'm gonna break it down. So what you're gonna need to do is, you know that the piece you're working on needs to be 30 inches wide. So first you're gonna need to, from your sample, you're gonna need to take your measuring tape and you're going to need to measure across the width of the sample. Now this sample is 15 stitches, which equals 3 inches. Okay, that's the first thing you need to know. Then I did 10 rows, which is 10 stitches. So measuring up, 10 stitches is 2 inches in length. So your width is 15 stitches, which equals 3 inches, and your length is 2 inches, which equals 10 stitches. So you got that out the way. So next thing you want to do is you just want to take your measuring tape and you just want to just lay it back across the whole panel. And you just want to count how many stitches make up 1 inch. So I hope you guys can see this. I can't focus anymore. So I will start at this line here after the 1, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to this one, to the line after the 2. So now that you know that 1 inch comprises of 6 stitches, you want to take that 6 stitches and you want to multiply it by either your 30-inch piece, however you break it down. So if you're going to do, if you're just going to do the whole 30-inch piece and not break it up, you're going to take 30 times 6, and that equals 180 stitches. So you know you need to cast on 180 stitches if you want to just do one whole 30-inch piece. If you're going to break it down and you're going to do two 15-inch pieces, you're going to cast on 90 stitches. You're going to take 15 times 6, and that equals 90. That's what you will cast on. If you're going to do if you're going to break it down and you want to do 2 front panels, which would be half of 15 inches, which is 7.5 inches, you're going to take 7.5 and you're going to multiply that by the 6 inches, and you're going to get 45, which is how many stitches you need to cast on. 45 stitches. So that's basically how you use your gauge swatch. Now, lengthwise, I still do my measurements for my length. Like I got length. My length is 2 inches long, which is 10 stitches. And that's 5 stitches. 1 inch equals 5 stitches. I don't really care about the length because most of my projects are mock. So I might start off in my mind, or my design might be one way, but as I get into the pattern, I might add some rows, decrease some rows. So length is not a big deal to me. It may be a big deal for you. I just care about the width. I just want to make sure that it fits, and it's tailored to myself. So if you're doing it for yourself or somebody else, make sure you get your width correct, and then do your gauge pattern, your gauge swatch. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, because as you can see, this is just like a wonky little sample, but it did the trick. It was enough rows for me to figure out how many inches it is across for 15 stitches. You can kind of get a gauge for that, as well as how many stitches are in an inch going in width, and how many stitches are in an inch in length. And that's all I need to know. So that's basically it, guys. I try to make it as simple as possible. There are a lot of videos out there that are kind of complicated, and I just need, when it comes to the math and measurements, I need for it to be as simple as possible. So I hope that this made sense for you guys and you're able to use this, and it makes knitting garments way easier, because it really does make it easy for me. And I can't stress enough, you really need to do your gauge swatch. Don't just jump out there and make a sweater or a skirt. Each size of yarn and each needle size, you need to do a gauge swatch, because it's going to change. Because if I use a bigger needle on this, if I use like a 10-inch needle, it's definitely going to be a different swatch. So keep that in mind. So if you're changing the size of the needle or the yarn, that's where you need to do another gauge swatch. But if you are doing multiple projects with the same yarn, the same needle, you only need to do this one time. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. Give me a like, a thumbs up. Let me know. Leave me a comment what you think about this video and suggestions on any other videos and things that you want to see me do.